Hey guys, Chris from Restoration Rehab here. It's been a couple of weeks since I did a video, so I thought give you a quick update. The 53 F100 is going out for exhaust in the next couple of days to have that built. So pretty much everything on this portion of the chassis is done. Brakes are all in, fuel lines are all in, air lines are all run, handbrake cables are run, sensors for the air systems is all set up and in. Let's see there, that's a little height sensor. This is aired up at the moment, full height, so that it can go on the tray truck easier. So pretty much it'll go out with the exhaust, and then it can come back and we start putting the body on, sorting out the steering column and all the electrics and everything. So she's getting there. It's a slow process. The 280 is nearly finished its skim coating, a couple of little sections just to finish off. She's coming up pretty good. I mean, look, typical with skim coating that nothing's ever perfectly straight until it's been skim coated. We spent some time straightening the roof out because that got pretty warped when the sandblasting, so it's looking pretty good now. We're waiting for the sunroof to come back so we can mount that in and give the roof some structural integrity before we finish her out properly. Still got to do some work on that front lip, and we'll go up on the rotisserie once quickly before it goes out just to get some seam welding on the chassis. Over here, a newcomer, albeit parts car for the moment. It's another 69 Mustang, so that's being used as a donor car for a lot of the parts and pieces for building the Cobrajet, which is over there, about to go on the second rotisserie. I'll have a look at that in a second. Under here is a 67 Mustang that came in to do some quick fixes for some repairs. Won't bother showing you the whole car, but yeah, she's under there. So neat little car. I mean, look, not perfect, but definitely a nice little weekend car. So it had some. Somebody forgot to do the bonnet clips up when they went for a drive, and whoop, up went the bonnet, and didn't manage to hit the windscreen too much, but it did manage to rip out the hinges. 53 F100 shell. So we've welded up all the holes in the firewall and just given that a quick flick. Customer didn't want to spend too much time straightening that out, so otherwise I would have normally skim coated that before we painted it. The Cobrajets. So the Cobrajet, we did a mock-up of all the panels and just made sure we didn't have any major issues. And now it's about to go on to another rotisserie, buy a second one. Another rotisserie so that we can start getting all the chassis and the bottom side prepped. This is sort of pretty much I'll call it a concourse restoration job, so there's no real mods going on this, just everything being returned back to its best original condition. So a lot of fixes of damage over the years, damage from road damage from people beating the floor to fit in bigger mufflers, all of those sort of things. The right hand conversion, well, while it was structurally okay, it wasn't the neatest job, so we're going over and cleaning all of that too, so that'll all get cleaned up. The Ranchero, so that's probably received most of the hours. So it's what's the best way to just go through this? It's had the rail reinforcements done. If I get down here and have a look, so two massive, I think they're 100 by 50, yeah, 100 by 50 rails put down the sides that are notched into the floor and capped into the original rail. So that joins the forward, mid and rear sections of the chassis all together. Everywhere else on the chassis has been seam welded, so that's all stiffened up. You can see the rail coming through there. So that's the chassis all been reinforced to hell. We started on the right hand conversion, so we cut all the dash to pieces and reassemble it in right hand configuration, which looks pretty awesome. We cut out the firewall from it and grafted in a firewall from I think it's a ZG fairlane. So modified that a little bit to fit, but once that's all cleaned up, that's going to look much better than a cut and paste job of they normally do for right hand conversions. Managed to graft in the little inner panels there as well. Engine bay's all been cleaned up. We've modified the upper control arm mounts to do similar to what the Mustangs had on the big blocks, is a reinforcement plate, so that wraps right round and grafts back into the tower, stops the towers cracking. I'll show you on the donor Mustang, it's actually got the towers cracked. And the upper wing braces, which is something that Ford did on the race cars, actually to stiffen the towers. And what we'll do here as well is we'll weld another brace in to support it back to the A-frame as well. So with that and a Monte Carlo bar, sort of like strut tower bar in the front there, this thing should be pretty damn rigid in the back, in the front, and back's already rigid. So fingers crossed, this thing should actually handle. Amazing for a 60s, 70s muscle car. But no, it's coming along nice. So it's all, we've welded up everything that we don't need, smoothed out most of it. So it's pretty much ready now to go off to do an engine mock-up and start mounting all the accessories and whatnot in there to do a fit-up, and then we can start skim coating this thing and prepping it for paint. Yeah, I'll show you what a cracked tower look like. Come over here. See if you can see this. See this tower down here? See that line there? That's not a fold line, that's actually a cracked tower. It's literally cracked all the way through from one mount through to that access hole, which, mind you, that access hole isn't standard. People cut them in to get access to the grease nipples, but pretty common failure on Mustangs and most of the early Fords is the cracking through there. So the big blocks all received the reinforcement plates. Actually, if you have a look at Cobrajet, because the Cobrajet was a factory big block, that's the factory reinforcement plates that they actually put in to stop that with the torque twist of the big block. So that's what we semi-replicated on the Ranchero. Obviously different shaped towers, so different reinforcements, but of the similar nature. So that's where we are right now. So hopefully, like I said, that'll go out for exhaust. Both these two cars are nearly prepped. This one will start doing some bodywork soon. This one will go off to start getting high fill and blocking. So that should probably be in paint in a final colour in the next few weeks, and then we can start on some assembly work and getting the interior spec'd out. So this should probably, fingers crossed, all things going well, probably be wrapped up sometime in March. And that's it. That's the shop. Catch you later, guys.